Lecture 3, and the description of the method using the RNG. So I will discuss about the degree of non-equilibrium, and then irreversible process and thermodynamics, and the theory and the simulation method. The reason why we care about degree of non-equilibrium is because we need guidance. So, like a turbulence, with a high range number, you expect turbulence. A similar thing, you can think of the RNG. So, essential to fundamentals of the gas flow in highly non-equilibrium. So, I explained before, the Newton number is natural quantity to indicate degree of freedom, the non-equilibrium, but not necessarily D1. So you have the Boltzmann equations, time derivative can be ignored in the case of a steady state in general, and then you have the kinematic terms, the convective derivative of the distribution function, therefore it moves, and the Boltzmann collision integral, and then you non-dimensionalize those terms, you have the 1 over Newton number. Therefore, Newton number becomes important quantities to clarify the RNG regime. So based on that, let's say Newton number is less than 0.01, we define continuum. And then until 0.1, the slips, and transitional, and the pre-molecular, and so on. So while these classifications are very useful, I will show you we need another quantities. So this is I call a small misfit, like the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg. So this tip can be indeed the small ice, or it's just a tip of huge iceberg. You need to judge. But to me, this one is somehow very interesting the tip. So why? Because in the micro gas, typically Newton number is 0.1, but the Mach number is very small unless the pressure difference is huge, so that the inside gas flow reached very high speed. While in the hypersonics, Mach number can be as high as 30, and then even 60, 70 kilometer high, Newton number is not 0.1, it's only 3%. Then if you use Newton number based on clarification, normal expectation is your theory it will be accurate in the case of the hypersonic instead of the microscale flow. But if you check in general, the opposite. The reason is we have the three terms, convective term here, convective terms, and then you have the pressure terms, you have the viscous term. Therefore, you have Mach number and range number. Therefore, we need both. So therefore, if you carefully look at this equation, what is non-equilibrium? What physics makes non-equilibrium? Because of viscosity. So this should be the nominate. And then there is two options. The denominator can be convection or pressure. But if you look at where these terms coming from Boltzmann equation, they are cousins. They originate from same equations. Therefore, natural thing is pi divided by p should be the degree of dynamic, which is Newton number times Mach number, or m square of random fractions. Very important concept. So therefore, that terms I call p of the pi. So in Navier-Stokes approximation, that should be mu, and then some velocity over n. The pressure here. So they will become, I call n delta. It is composite numbers. It can be Nusselt number times Mach number, or m squared over, which means Nusselt number is m of Reynolds number and m. Because m has velocity, Reynolds number has velocity, they cancel out. That's the why this is just nothing to do with velocity, only thermodynamic quantity. So naturally, it's good. This Nusselt number should be terminal, but multiplied by terminal. This is the point. Because of that, microscale flow, normally m is small, even Nusselt number high. This the multiplication, the combined number, not necessarily big. That's the logic. So, and then that's not first time I propose these things. In fact, it can be back to the half century. Before that, this is the MIT, actually it's one of the pioneers in the microscale gas measurement. Indeed, they classify fluorine based on Mach number and Reynolds number. They are correct. So when Mach number is small, Nusselt number is small, we call, but the Nusselt number is order 1. Then we call crippling microflow. So let's say hypersonics. Hypersonics means Reynolds number is big, which means 1 over epsilon is small. So this should be. And the Mach number would be big one, 1 over. Because hypersonic, 1 over. So this is we call another extreme. So there can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There can be other reasons. So this is important because your manager gave you some assignment. It's not typical Navier-Stokes shape. There's something RMG domain. The question is, you have to check where your problem belongs to where. Why? Because it has implication including why computational models. That kind of thing is important. And then otherwise, you pick up wrong methods. So please remember 9 regions. So I'm not saying particular method will prevail all of these regions. Particular, let's say Mach number is high, Nusselt number maybe the essence is very good. But Mach number is small, Reynolds number is somewhere maybe Navier-Stokes with sleep will give you fairly enough calculations. So it has huge implications. So that's exactly what managers like to hear. You assign some problem to their guys with some analysis or management. In this case, we have to choose this kind of method because of that. That kind of thinking, it's successful. I mean, company will invest some money in that particular method and then they will get what they want to do. Very important. So, I'm not the first person who raised this issue. So again, this has worked, and then please remember that m squared over the Reynolds number. In 1997, you can find this table from his paper. And also, Achilles observation is not first time history to show what is degree of non-equality. In fact, can we go back to the 1940 something? Yeah. So could you recognize who are those people? Architects who is? Yeah. Rudy Plancher, the originator of the boundary layer. And this is von Karna, the father of aeronautics. And this is Tsien, this person, Tsien or Tsien. He's first director of the Institute of Mechanics of Chinese Academy of Science in 1957, which is biggest shock tunnel. It's 300 long. Yeah, last June I had a chance to look at it. And then we graduated from Caltech, hired by MIT, somehow not satisfied by MIT. back to the calculate, and then try to build some brackets, later on some political issues, and then he somehow end up some Chinese agent, some sort of communist like that. So he spent 2 or 3 years without doing anything. Then somehow, George Mao Zedong, then the power man of China, somehow successfully took him to the China. And then he never back to the United States. And then he beat the Chinese, all those space program, atomic program. So of course there is some downside. He somehow trained engineers because he's so influential that he somehow gave some opinion on the agriculture. And what happened was he genetically homogeneous problem and all those crops that particular years miserably failed. Many people died. But other than that, he successfully built nowadays China's space program. So he is part of China's space program, all those atomic bombs. By the way, he's published 1946 Journal of the Aeronautical Science in former AIA journals. The name of super aerodynamics mechanics of rarefied gas. You should like this word, mechanics. Mechanics. Very few cases you can find mechanics of rarefied gas, either rarefied gas dynamics and so on.
I have read this paper.
Yeah.
This is the first paper my advisor gave to me when I joined for my master's.
Anyway, this is probably, you look at different way, I found, super aerodynamics, interesting word. In their papers, I mean, you can find Dr. Tsien's insight. The order of magnitude of additional second order heat flux or stress is then 100 times. So I'm not inventing many cases in research. There's nothing new in the world. Everything starts from something before. And by the time I say there's nothing remain the same in the world. So the question is, you all started from somebody else. The question is how to improve it. It can be significant, then you can claim some credit. So this is the chance. The paper, you can see that even though you have scale, it doesn't matter. Pretty non-linear parameter. Important one is M scale of range number, and only of the importance of the product of mathematics. So half century ago, Dr. Tsien also wrote that what is the degree of H percent of the mathematics. So because of that, instead of classify based on just the continuum, sleep, traditional, pre-molecular, this is one way to define the classifications. So I deliberately chose this is pulse, this is altitude. This is parallel to the solid quantum. Because we need two quantities. Altitude is Nusa number, or high Nusa number, high. So this is altitude, this is speed. So this is where this red color regime is governed by trust law, not the classification. And then, which means high speed and the Nusa number is small, therefore we can predict this flow with Navier stocks. Same thing, Nusa number high, as a message maybe 0.5. If Mach number is small, you can still use Navier stocks with some circulation. Particular series detected in the first of the degree by the condition. So this is nothing happened. The flow is no motions, is homogeneous equilibrium. Away from this origin, everything becomes equilibrium. So the coupling pump, the pump first. So I say coupling non-isothermal effect. So away from this point, this is what we have. So for given your assigned problem, look at this one. Then you have to make sure let's say your problem belong to here, then you have to make sure that your models not only explain coupling, non-isosolution compressor, or temperature dependence of the transport coefficient and so on, and the nonlinearity. But your problem belong to before this year here, and you don't have to worry about very much about nonlinearity. Just the coupling or non-isosolution will be important. And the smaller the number is not going to go high, then the chemical rating will come up. That's I call high temperature. I don't like terms real gas. Yes, like Professor Anderson has a good point. You should avoid use that word because real gas means it can't turn. It should be high temperature. So that's rarefied type science. And this is nano-rarefied stuff. And then the solid gas boundary condition to the first degree depending on the sample. Therefore, you have to make sure that solid conditions are. So solid condition, coupling, nonlinearity, like these four things are important. But depending on problem, you don't need to worry about hot temperature when you're talking about these regions because Mach number is so small. So this kind of reactor vehicle belong to you, or maybe. On the other hand, like the computer disk rotating very fast, lubricant, we can compare it is 24 meters per second, but the gap is only 6 nanometers. That equivalent to this 500 miles per hour with the gap micron scale. Can you imagine that airplane fly in a second? That's a challenging problem. That problem belongs to where I'm here. So you don't have to worry about high temperatures, but you have to worry about coupling, non-isosummer, non-energy. This is problem. So anyway, this is why I need to classify the problem. So you can invent your own. In my case, I based on MN, you can based on different. But the one is you need to independent two categories. Okay, then the subject of very strange stuff, thermodynamics. All of you, I guess, including professors, we learn thermodynamics, I think, sophomore, the core curriculum, beside fluid dynamics and the solid mechanics dynamics, we learn the thermodynamics. I remember in thermodynamics, it's about all cycles, and the some energy principles, and control volume, and so on. I was asked to memorize a lot, those auto cycles and so on, right? But then very few pages, there is section of thermodynamics. So that was all my knowledge before I look at Professor Yu's monograph papers. Interestingly, he pointed out, so this is second of thermodynamics. Let's say, you already know what is the second of thermodynamics. The important one is this one. You have a hot reserve, and you have a cold reserve, taking some heat from here, and then generating useful work through the engine. The important point is you cannot make this heat is zero. Zero is covalent. So that's the essence of the second of thermodynamics. So that there's slightly different form of the description. One is the Clausius principle. It is impossible to transport heat from the cold to a hot body. Importantly, without converting at the same time a certain amount of work into the heat at the end of the cycle, it's wasted. This is what important. Or without transferring at the same time a certain amount of heat from the colders. Anyway, so you cannot make. Keep it in mind that nothing new at this moment. And this is another way of summarizing all kinds of things. Popular exploration again, you took heat H from hot reserve, generating some useful work W, while you have spent some risk in the form of the QC, and the efficiency come QH minus QC divided by, so this is something like that. Then you can find, this is familiar, right? So this is dq heat entering the system at any point in the cycles, and the temperature at the point of heat entry. So this is the complete, meaning the circular integral must be smaller than. This is somehow mathematical expression of previous second of thermodynamics. And then, so this is typical expression of the second of thermodynamics. You can find from all thermodynamics books. So again, original form by Clausius, 1865. Then efficiency of REV means reversible, where the heat conductions or viscosity is ignored. And then minus W reversible divided by QH, which becomes this one indicate ideal case. Then can 1 minus TC cold temperature divided by TH. In the case of irreversible process, you cannot simplify this way. You just keep this one, QC over QH anyway. And then we know that the reversible the efficiency maximum, yeah, so you always greater than the irreversible efficiency. And then using this expressions, from this expressions you can show that from this one, this one, this one. Based on that, we have seen before, previous slide, this is to be the minus is greater than 0. So this is for a series of infinitesimal cycles. We have the this mathematical equations, the Clausius. But in that case, Clausius also recognized another quantity, the uncompensated n, which means n is defined this one itself. I mean, this one is n, and therefore it's greater than 1, always positive. And then for irreversible process, this is 0. So that's why you have the exact integral of those heat integral must be 0 because everything is conserved. So another way, equivalent we call Gibbs. That's why Gibbs, the name of Gibbs comes in. So when you combine kinetic theory with phenomenological microscopic thermodynamics, this is one. Gibbs contributes. And this is community one. So your dE energy, work, and entropy. Remember, this entropy is the equilibrium entropy. Very few types of mentioned. So therefore, the young generations misunderstood what this includes non-equivalent and non. So I'll show you next slide. I mean, that it's again, it's like the tip of ice. Nothing big problem, only small misfit. Somebody looking at textbook just mentioning he was very stubborn to accept previous knowledge, and then this is what previous issue realized that. I will show you the defined theory. It's a recent one. Realize that dQ compensates heat change to perform the task useful work and its energy work unavailable for the given task that we have seen before. It's series of the cycles, therefore we could have Q1 divided by T1 minus NQN. You have many terms. Then you can express this one as summation of this integral Q over T. The important one in this case Q over D and then differentiation. Then, as you know, you differentiate Q first, that becomes, and there's another term. This is complete unknown to previous all those explanations. This is one need to explain the need of this extra part, which is uncompensated heat associated. Because of that, or similarly, you can, or you cannot theory may be written as a case instead of the inequality. So there is unavailable work because of this terms. And then you can say this, you have this n terms, which recognized first by Clausius himself, but the Clausius himself couldn't put this way. And the first issue did this way. And then we can consider n as an independent quantity, therefore you have a integral dn, which defines this one. And then you can notice the difference. Just carefully look at this case. We have additional term. Previous one, this is 0. So that is valid only when we are talking about equilibrium. So equilibrium case, this term above, you have this term, there's equilibrium gives equation. But we are talking about what? RMG, the non-equilibrium you need to keep this term. That's we call this Tsien is called. So we define this all together. Tsien is non-equilibrium. So irreversible process, Tsien is different from the C. But the reversible process, this recover. So this is extended non-equilibrium gives dynamic. You have a Microscale. So this is formal the mathematical representation of psychological dynamics. So sometimes when you derive your microscopic equations from the multiplication, there is a step, this kind of things we need. In that case, why they we are using Gibbs names, the name of Gibbs. Okay, I think that you cannot find anything more untextable. Yeah. So, for example, if you have the differential result, then sometimes you want to check what is entropy. So this is microscopic counterpart. So you can relate your ND or whatever and TSMC. Anyway, this is very useful. It's essence of Microscale theory because that provides. Otherwise, all the individual information become something you can see. You can fill it in the forms. So with that, maybe a couple of lectures later, I will revisit again that extends Gibbs relations. Anyway, just to remember, entropy should be defined as non-equilibrium when we talk about RMG. So this is my summary of the simulation method and mathematical method in RMG. The pure or PD based. So those are pure or semi-simulation. This is PD based. So we talk about the Kung-Su's gas kinetic scheme. It belongs to simulation method because it's not based on PD strip form. So MD of course is simulation method. Even though it's not Newton's the application of the motion, but nonetheless it's just purely simulation. TSMC of course. LVM also too. It's not based on strip form PDA. And on the other end, the PD based form is reunification, it's before Boltzmann-ification. Once you introduce molecular chaos, where irreversibility comes in, that becomes Boltzmann-ification. And then you can simplify Boltzmann-ification, particular Boltzmann-ification integral, with some relaxation and so on. And then method of momentum. I'm focused on this one, these lectures. And the Chopin-Hess method and the knowledge and so on. And then these are the molecular proportion, these are continuum, but very careful about when you think about continuum. I like to use some other terms, but I cannot find them. But anyway, important one is the boundary, where you can define static gravity, or you can define thermodynamics. There must be enough molecules to define those quantities. Then I call continuum. That doesn't mean Navier-Stokes. So continuum-based method can treat high-Ellison number problem if you can define gravity and thermodynamics. And then also this is molecular level, this is continuum level. So LVM, that is Boltzmann method. It's because it's based on more like Boltzmann-ification, but nonetheless introduce a lot of approximation, so that I think it's more like the similar to Navier-Stokes. Sometimes because in second order tensors, they introduce some anisotropic terms. Therefore, it's a little bit extended from Navier-Stokes, but in general, it's the same level of Navier-Stokes. The gas kinetics is beyond that. Obviously, TSMC is more like the Boltzmann-ification. Oh, by the way, this is something I want to share that. On innovated tent requiring only 5 seconds for setup, like this one. So your BG, you go to the Himalaya mountain, coming summer vacation, so your kid or your friend wanted to establish very quickly all those tents. And then let's say you have the company selling their tents, in 5 seconds, just 3, and then like this one, you can have tents. So my question is, do you want to purchase this one? How about Professor? You will buy it. How about you? Why? Totally why you don't buy it? Okay, I mean, probably you downloaded that 5 seconds. But my point is, important one is, you can establish tent in 5 seconds. The problem is, let's say the breakdown, collect, the initial form, let's take 1 hour. That's possible. You just establish tent 5 seconds, but you will spend 30 minutes to make it original form. You got my point? Yeah, so that is something you have to be very careful when you choose method. It first look it's fantastic, but it doesn't mean you look for it. Just like this. No one will buy it. But the company does, guys, let's say mention. He said only 5 seconds, but never mention about 1 hour those clean. So you have to find a way by yourself. The same thing is true in those previous methods. Some people say, this particular method will beautifully work for you, but be very careful. They will not say downside of the problem. And it's your job to come up with such definitions. So I will not explain all of them methods, but I will mention some of the methods. Let's say, basically, we have quantification or MD. So if you look at 1 mole of the gas molecules, we are talking about what the number of the molecules tend to be thought. So it's huge numbers. But you cannot calculate all those molecules, motions. Engineering aspect is not useful. Therefore, all other methods, what you're trying to do is reduction of from the temperature tensor to something, which means it again measure scale. I mentioned originally microscopic, you have the atomic level molecules, and then you have the statistical average definable quantity. It's always measure scale problem, including all those cases and so on. So the question is how to reduce those huge number of the degree of freedom. The TSMC case and the introduced representative particle. It's not actual molecules. 1 molecule represents huge number of real molecules. But that representative molecules undergo just like quantifications, movements, the collisions, interactions. So some people say that decomposition and the movement and then those collision will introduce some errors. But it's possible, but I don't think that we did if you have enough number of molecules. Because as I mentioned, in the fundamental level, always movement and interactions. Splitting both is no problem, conceptually, to me at least. So anyway, that's the one thing. So that's the first reduction of those numbers. The movement is deterministic, and then through Monte Carlo, the collision number probability. So that's the beauty of, I think, the TSMC. There is no PDE, so it's pure simulation method. Gas kinetic scheme solving a important one discretized version of conventional. So conventional physical laws. So because of that, this is very stable. Because conventional law makes sure that you cannot completely wrong. I think the reason why Navier-Stokes is so successful because it's based on conservation laws. So everything is conservation. So this one should mean it should be limited by these numbers. In complete sense, they are somehow working very well. Therefore, This GK's method also based on the best law. And also discretize BGK-PT in the iterative way. Anyway, solving iterative way, making sure that your numerical solution satisfies the best law. But during the process, they expand those linear laws beyond Navier Stokes law. So only discretize we discuss about that. So it is not really, we know. And then LBM also, solving Boltzmann transportation on discrete lattice. By introducing discrete lattice is again one way to reducing degree of freedom. Otherwise, it's infinite number almost sometimes. And then also introducing finite number of discrete velocity. You don't have discontinued once you define statistical average or huge number of molecules. The direction of velocity can be not just the small numbers. So this is one way to reduce degree of freedom. And then finally place first order equilibrium K. So that's limitation of the collision integral. The Boltzmann equation, this is wrong. I mean, this should be this and see, just ignore it. I mean, I don't need to explain Boltzmann equation, but this is momentum method. So I will explain again method of moments. The key point is differentiating the statistical definition, in this case the momentum, with the time and then combined with Boltzmann transport equation, PD of high order. So this is mathematically how to derive the method of momentum. At this moment, there's no approximations. I mean, you could have all hierarchical applications. The question is, you cannot solve all. So you have to approximate. So there are many ways to derive this equation, but this is the best way. Why? Because mathematically it's simple, and you can control each term goes where and so on. Otherwise, all the textbook, you have the Boltzmann collision, Boltzmann equation, and then something like that, and then C, F, F2. What you can do is multiply something and then integrate and solve. This is very complicated. So instead of that, just you define whatever you want to know. And then this is like this. This is statistical average. This is simply represents statistical average in the velocity space. T is time, R is configuration location. The V, this V is molecular velocity. So average velocity U. The V is molecular velocity, and molecular random velocity and so on. Remember, Boltzmann equations is 7-dimensional because T is 1-dimension, R is 3-dimension, velocity is 6-dimensional. Remember, but these T are three independent variables. So this like the R, the V, this is 0 because they are independent. We begin with the approximations. With that kind of things, you can derive just from this definition. This symbol represents the velocity space in the space space. Anyway, this is how to derive the momentation. To commence, assuming this unknown digital function f is a function, you can see that the difference. The V is V, and then TR somehow become some quantity W, which is a function of TR, and then you introduce gradient of W. So this is why this is beautiful, will cause some difficulty later on. Why? Because this is gradient, it's one order higher than W. By doing so, you introduce high order terms, which is some burden. And then you introduce epsilon, it's like Muslim guys. And then put this one into the Boltzmann equation, and then you derive systematically in order of epsilon. And then we call first order, second order, and the superman, and so on. But then mathematics is now, it's over. Problem is this transformation. So, need of extra different hypersonics. Because boundary condition is always will affect to the first order. You change boundary condition, you change the solution. Sometimes that's useful, but sometimes very bad. Because you have everything. You have hypothetical problem, the microscale problem, you have to change everything. You cannot rely on the one consistent parameter. So this is the sensitivity about this we discussed about in detail. I just showed you mathematics. This is the collision terms, Monte Carlo, and then there is the sampling. This kind of this is I mentioned this is symbols. X velocity by so I reduced these symbols, sampling this kind of thing. The constraint, the time steps to be smaller than mean collision time, cell size smaller than mean interface, particle first time less than something. There is some, just like CFL numbers, there is some limitations. Otherwise, very robust problem. So never break down. The question is quality of solution. So later on, I will show you how check importance of this parameters when I verify this solution. So this is something we call some random errors. This thing is some discretization errors because you have delta, and so on. And then of course there's boundary treatment and so on. And then this is GKS, Kumsu's. As you can see, you have equations. Remember, the subscript in J, this described as equations. So this is the more like the Boltzmann with relaxation. And then this is conjugation laws. So this is scale up, this is scale down. So kinetic level, microscopic level, we are working on Boltzmann equations. And then this is conjugation laws. A is scale up. You just project your solution into the microscopic. And then this is through this kind of equivalent function is scaled down. So this is equivalent. So this is scale. So this is very clever way to solve multiplication. Very stable because this conjugation laws is strictly satisfied. So therefore you can handle shock and so on. In the case of LVM, didn't have this kind of step. Therefore, the high quantum number compressible flow it cannot handle. Okay, then this one is liquid. So my question is, if you look at this standard temperature and pressure, so this is less than nitrogen. And then one collision, and then before another collision maybe all this far. So that will define in phase. Normally because you have the many numbers, therefore that distance is very small in comparison with capitalist length. But the rarefied state, it can be large, it can be low meters, and then those numbers are high. So molecular diameter is 33 nanometers, number density, this number is intermolecular spacing 3 nanometers. The displacement distance is 3 times bigger than intermolecular space, which is big numbers. And the molecular velocity order of this one. On the other hand, I think this is 82 on hydrogen, 1 over 2H. Molecular dynamic, the same order of this one. Molecular number density, similar one. Intermolecular. The big difference is about 10 times smaller than, remember this is standard temperature. Rarefied is big numbers. And this is, as I mentioned, this empty space is not negligible. That we call free volumes. So motion of these molecules will be affected by those empty space or free volumes. So in the statistical mechanics, that's the difficulty. So free volume. Those empty space, because the liquid particles is compact. This is very small, 1 picometer. That travel very small distance, very small. But anyway, so this is then question is, in the case of the gas dynamics, we have Lucent numbers. Therefore, or Lucent number times matter numbers. So they can serve as guidance. High Lucent numbers is high non-equilibrium. And the question is, what kind of the parameters can be defined in Wiki? So I didn't find the answers, but can research. Probably sometimes it may not that important if you have any simulation and so on, but nonetheless, something like the distance of the momentum transfer. So those molecular speed like exactly checked. Somehow that interaction is appropriate. The length of the momentum transfer, something like that. I don't know. You can define something like that. And even the leaky looks similar. Maybe you can define zero or non-equilibrium based on the quantity. Anyway, I don't know the answers.
I'm sure it is 1000 meter per second.
This is, I don't think so. It's right. Yeah, that's the typo. Minus something like that. Yeah. So this is okay. Any questions?
What is the difference between simulation-based LBM and partial differences with PD-based LBM?
LBM?
Yes.
LBM is very, very similar to the GKS.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, this one. I think the LBM is something like have this kind of thing. Yeah, this kind of thing.
Explain this to us.
Oh, GKS?
This part, yeah.
Yeah.
Explain.
Okay, so you can see that this is the Boltzmann equations.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's one dimensional case.
Yes.
And then this term is simplified Fourier integral. So anyway, you update the distribution function f at position jk and time across 1. So you have information. And then that information f will go to here. Then this spell out is the average velocity. They will give you some those microscopic quantity. And then you use that quantity in here in this steps in W. And then you update those microscopic quantity.
What's the W here?
That W is that quantity. The rho, the rho U, and the rho E. So this is average quantity. And then what you have is now is microscopic quantity.
Yeah.
Then you don't have the microscopic quantity. Then you can use Maxwell-Curie distributive function. They will give you F. Sometimes Maxwell or some rather simplified Chapman is called maybe some terms. Yeah. So anyway, you can see that this is because it's pumping going forward and backward, microscopy, intuitive. Every time step you do this way. So making sure in the end they will satisfy both conservation laws and dissipation. They're very clever way to solve it. But you cannot say what is carbon equation. You cannot present. This is carbon equation, but this is discretized. If you like to say probably the simplified Boltzmann equation, probably more like that. But the question is, if this is simplified, the G is equilibrium, F is down.
Yeah.
So if you maintain the original integral form of the Boltzmann original integral, it is messy. Also the question of scale down. This is easier. Always easier from the microscopic to the macroscopic, just integration. But this is scale down is different. Yeah. Projection too. It's where you study.
That's the problem with the implementation of boundary.
Yeah, everything is perfect. Very important.
Another problem is the liquids. Gases we have kinetic theory, it's been very successful. But for liquids, so far we don't have any theory.
I think the most of the best one in organic because it's used. If you look at there is book telescopic coefficient, something like that, around 2005 and so on. Theoretically, there is some advanced topics. He is talking about many cases free volume, free volumes, and collision, not only by the collision and so on. And I can show you that a little bit of because you are interested, I guess, the liquid more than gases. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have the e-books. Yeah, but I think that BCU's transport coefficient of liquid something like that. That's what the most advanced statistical mechanics treatment of the liquid. But I think that in the case of liquid, as a chemist, they're not interesting in things. More like the phase transition and so on, where the motion of liquid it becomes very interesting, very tough.
Yes, very good.
Phase transition also. Yeah, so from the gas to the liquid and so on. But nonetheless, that kind of the treatment maybe.
Traditionally, there have been some models which people thought that the liquid is much closer to solid. So similar to this lattice Boltzmann method, there have been some proposals from some Russian scientists. They thought that you can model the liquid which is very close, which behaves very close like a solid. You have a lattice and you have this liquid arranged in the lattice.
Right.
And when you try to simulate liquids, the problem is you have the potential fields of these molecules depending upon the structure of the liquid, right?
Yeah.
So, but when you look at gases, you don't distinguish between different types of gases. You just say a monatomic, diatomic, or polyatomic, right? And we don't distinguish between in terms of the potential field because we have RCR model or VHS model or DSM model. But in terms of liquids, you have to really look into the structure and then define that field equation is very important.
Well, because of that, if you are working on that kind of different potentials, I think in the BCU's book, in the end, he used Monte Carlo. Because the final result of those multi-body interactions through potentials. Then I think he used Monte Carlo, the American method. So, not like gas, one cannot drive several pumps. So, in the case of liquid, I found more complicated because of that. Yeah, you're right. So, but the method we developed may be useful to your case.
So, most of the liquid property calculations end up with physical chemistry fundamentals.
Yeah, you're right. Through particular Monte Carlo and so on. Yeah. So,
what is the basic difference between a gas and a liquid? Is it only defined by the displacement differences? Is it the only property which defines gas and liquid?
Oh, very difficult question. Well, I mean, we already discussed the case of the liquid. So, the potential, because they are close each other. And then, also in many cases, liquid is very complicated molecules. Therefore, the potentials around those liquid molecules they play very important roles. And also, as I mentioned, those empty space, because it's so compact, because how to take into account those empty space. Anyway, will appear in the final microscopic descriptions. That makes difference, I guess.
I think it's interaction with the surfaces.
Oh, in that case, particularly different. Yeah.
Because we have two phases, gas and liquids, in the same phase. So how do we differentiate those two things? That is
I think that's blood. I mean, I also checked also paper about those boundaries. Yes, and it's continuous.
Yeah.
It's not clear cut. Because the reason is I was interested in the kinetic description of surface tensions. And that's the gas and liquid, it's blood.
Interface.
Yeah, interface.
Just magnify the interface, which is continuous. You just magnify the liquid gas interface. It is almost continuous.
Yeah.
From a macroscale perspective, but you can just look drastic changes happen at interface.
Can we see it in terms of RDS and radial distribution?
That is one method by which we distinguish where do we stop describing liquid and start describing it as a gas. So we just look at the density profiles or just look at the radial distribution.
Yeah, typically the density profiles are the one which are
Yeah.
taken into consideration.
Yeah.
So my doubt is like, is it the only parameter which differentiates this?
Yeah, yes.